Hi everyone, today we are going to talk about a serious issue, the overpopulation of sucker-mouth catfish. These fish, once common pets, have been irresponsibly released into rivers where they now damage riverbanks and threaten native species. Their growing numbers are becoming a big problem for our ecosystems. To solve this, scientists propose a genetic solution, which modifying an X-linked gene in male catfish so that their female offspring becomes sterile. This method is inspired by a successful mosquito control strategy that reduced population by over 90% in countries like Brazil. But this raises an important question. Should we interfere with nature to solve environmental problems? In this video, we will explore the science, ethics, and legal consideration behind this innovative yet controversial idea.
The central issue here is that the X-linked gene mutation approach is potentially effective in reducing overpopulation, but this approach might also have negative impacts and unintended ripple effects on the ecosystem. So, should scientists be allowed to proceed with this or not?
We found a case that is very similar to the idea that is proposed by the scientists that want to make an X-linked gene to the male sucker-mouth catfish, which the company Ozitech have genetically modified male mosquitoes where they carry a gene that causes female offspring to die early. And then the population of the mosquito declined very rapidly. This method is very similar to the proposed genetic modification of male sucker-mouth catfish that we are researching about.
For the preliminary decision, we think that mutation to an X-linked gene should be done as it could stop the invasive catfish from overpopulation, which can be more effective than manual removal. By making female sucker-mouth catfish sterile, their population will shrink over time, protecting ecosystem and native species.
I will be talking about the harm test, which consists of two options: whether we should move forward with a genetic mutation to an X-linked gene in catfish or just stop the mutation altogether. Let's break down what each choice could mean for different groups. First, let's talk about the environment. If we go ahead with the mutation, it could help save native species from disappearing and keep the river ecosystem balanced by preventing catfish from taking over. It might even help the whole ecosystem bounce back in the long run. But there's a catch. If things don't go as planned, we could end up messing with the food chain in a new way. If we stop the mutation, we avoid interfering with natural selection, but we might see catfish overrun the place, compete for resources, and possibly cause lasting damage to the ecosystem. On the bright side, the genetic balance stays natural, but native species could keep declining. Now for biosafety, going with the mutation means we could cut down invasive catfish without using chemicals, as long as we keep things under control. But if we're not careful, the mutation might spread to other species we don't want to affect. If we don't use the mutation, there's no risk of spreading unwanted genes, but water quality and even human health could take a hit if invasive catfish keep multiplying. From the government's point of view, using the mutation could save money on riverbank maintenance and might pay off in the long run if native fish make a comeback. If we stop the mutation, there's a chance the catfish could be turned into a money maker, but native fish could become rare and expensive. Looking at society, if we use the mutation, people might start seeing genetic solution as the go-to fix for environmental problems, which could be controversial. If we don't use it, we avoid any immediate debates about experimenting on animals. For the catfish themselves, the mutation would let us control their number easily and keep the population in check without stressing the fish too much. However, it could also mean some fish end up with poor quality eggs, weak sperm, or weaker immune system. If we don't use the mutation, it's harder to manage their numbers, but at least their genetics stay natural. And finally, researchers. Using the mutation could make genetic solution more accepted in science, opening door for future research. But if we don't use it, we miss out on building scientific support for this kind of methods. So, both options have their upsides and downsides. It's really about weighing what matters most, protecting the ecosystem, avoiding risks, saving money, or sticking to natural processes.
Now, let's move on to the fact test, which examines how different religious perspectives view this issue. For Islam emphasizes the preservation of life, which is hifz al-naf, which support action that protect other species from ecological damage. From Surah Al-Ma'idah, Surah number 5, verse number 32, which is, whoever saves one life, it is as if he has saved all mankind. However, changing God's creation can be seen as sinful. from Surah An-Nisa, Surah number 4, verse number 119, which is, "And they will utter our creation." For Christianity teaches stewardship of earth, meaning humans are caretakers of God's creation. From Genesis, which is, "The Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to work it and take care of it." On the other hand, interfering with nature might be seen as playing God. From Isaiah, which is, "Woe to those who quarrel with their maker." For Buddhism encourages wisdom, which is Pana, and compassion, which is Karuna, intervening to reduce suffering and restore balance aligned with this principle. From Dhammapada 276, which is, "Better than 1,000 hollow words is one word that brings peace. But if the motivation is driven by ignorance or greed, it's not right." From Dhammapada 1, which is, "We are what we think."
For professional tests, we have Animal Welfare 2015 Act 772, which is to ensure human treatment of organisms in research. Any usage of animals in research must have a license and obtain the approval from Animal Ethics Committee. The research also must comply with ethical standard and is supervised by qualified veterinarians. Besides, we have Environmental Quality Act 1974, which is an act relating to the prevention and control the pollution as well as enhancing the environment. Under Section 34A, any introduction of genetically modified organism can be proceed, but have to submit the environmental impact assessment, which is EIA report, to the Director General of Environmental Quality for review. If the proposal is rejected, the proposer have to revise and resubmit the proposal. And then every activity carried before EIA proposal getting approved is prohibited. Lastly, we have Fisheries Act 1985, which govern the introduction of aquatic species into public waters. We see that this proposal can be proceed, but have to get the written approval from Director General of Fisheries, from Department of Fisheries Malaysia, which is DOF. The researchers or the scientists also have to propose zero risk of accidental release and have to coordinate with DOF for monitoring and documentation. So, based on our analysis, the mutation of the X-linked gene to the male suckermouth catfish can be proceed with a correct procedure to make sure our law and formalization are being complied.
Genetically modifying animals is a sensitive topic. On one hand, sharing this plan with the public can help raise awareness about invasive species and show that science can offer real solutions to environmental problems. It is also a chance to educate people and build trust through open communication. But on the other hand, not everyone is familiar with genetic science, and this kind of topic can cause fear or concern, especially for those with strong religious or ethical beliefs. If things are not explained clearly, it might lead to misunderstandings or even conspiracy theories. That is why it is so important to communicate this carefully and make sure it follows proper laws and regulations like Malaysia's Environmental Quality Act, Animal Welfare Act, and Fisheries Act. When done responsibly, this approach could be a safe and effective way to protect our ecosystems.
For the conclusion, we support the strategy of using X-linked gene mutation in male suckermouth catfish to induce female sterility. If tested carefully and equipped with safety features like a genetic kill switch, the risk can be minimized. This is a smart, long-term solution compared to ongoing methods like trapping, catching, or poisoning the fish. Thank you.